Hello everyone, I'm RJ Marquez with KSAT.com, and it's time for our Spurs weekly webcast with the one and only David Sears right here. David, we are 2 weeks into the season and the Spurs have gotten off to a solid start, 5-2, but no one here has been able to see them play at home. They've had what seems like a ton of road games, a few home games. Talk about this weird start.
Hey, get the road games out of the way.
I like it.
And you start the season off 5-2, although Golden State at this time, when we're taping this, is 8-0.
Yeah.
So, but the Spurs are getting some of those road games out of the way. And here's the good news: after they play Portland on Wednesday night, they come home for 4 out of the next 5. So people will get to learn the roster.
Yeah, definitely get a little home cooking there. So, David, last week you talked about the bench and how deep this team is.
Oh, man.
Assuming they stay relatively healthy, and that's the big if. They have looked great recently. Talk about the way they're coming together. David West, Manu, Patty, that second unit.
I love that second unit. It's almost like you can't wait for the second unit to get in there because they seem to change the way the game is played, because it seems like the second unit passes the ball around. They have a little bit more movement than the first unit. The first unit with LaMarcus Aldridge is just kind of trying to feel their way along, trying to figure things out along the way. But that second unit, man, they move the ball, they shoot it, they make it. Patty Mills and Manu Ginobili having an incredible start to their seasons. And it is so fun to watch Patty Mills. That guy's just a ball of energy. But it's so fun because last year when he came back from the shoulder injury, he kind of struggled towards the end of the year. You could just tell he wasn't Patty Mills. But this year he seems to be completely healthy. That shoulder seems to be healed. And, man, he's shooting lights out for most of the time. And then Ginobili, and like you mentioned, David West gets some good, solid minutes on that bench. Yeah. And where they average like 36 points a game, the bench.
And right, something like that. I think they had 37 in Charlotte, against Charlotte, and then the other day they had another solid game. Even, you know, you talk about how contagious it is, the way they play offense. David West was averaging like 5-6 assists during these games.
Which is absolutely amazing. And I think that's the whole key, is for these guys to start fitting in to the way the Spurs play basketball. And if that bench, like you said, can stay healthy for pretty much the entire year, you're looking at 2 starting squads. I mean, half the guys on that bench can start for other teams. Yeah. So, you know, how would you like to be the opponent and go, okay, now look what we got to deal with? I mean, you know, they always talk about how the Spurs need to match up. Well, how about the opponents matching up with the way the Spurs playing?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, David, Kawhi Leonard has stayed red hot. Still averaging 22 points, 8 rebounds, 2 steals a game. Can you see him? Can he keep up this pace throughout the rest of the season?
He's young.
Yeah.
Why not? He's, you know, yeah, he's got legs, and his game has improved so much, especially in the low post. We talked about that earlier. How he's learned how to pass out of that double team and get the ball back, and he's everything from everywhere. I mean, the guy, and this defense is just absolutely incredible. If he's not one of the top 3 defensive players in the league, then I don't know what people are watching.
Yeah, he's been incredible on both ends of the floor. But I think his red-hot start has kind of overshadowed a little bit of LaMarcus Aldridge. Not that really we needed LaMarcus to be overshadowed at all. He's kind of feeling his way onto this team, averaging 16 points a game, maybe around 10 rebounds. And his minutes have kind of varied a little bit. Do you think this is all part of Pop's master plan here?
Yes, I do. I mean, you know, Pop is a genius at managing minutes. And he's a genius at figuring out how to get guys involved the way he wants them involved and the way the teammates want them involved. And we're 7 games at this particular time. We're 7 games into the season. The guy's had a couple of games where he scored 20 plus. You know, he had 24 a couple of times, and it's going to take a while. Yeah. I mean, this is not. But think about how good they are now. They're 5-2 in the West, and this is how good they are now. What's going to happen come April? In May.
Oh, they'd be probably firing on full cylinders, definitely ready to hit the postseason. So, okay, David, we're looking ahead to the next few games, and of course, the big one everyone's talking about. We just mentioned LaMarcus Aldridge, his return to the Rose City. I'm guessing it won't be all roses during his trip back to Portland. There's been a lot of negative things written about him in the media. Some, you know, going back to a little bit of a rift between him and Damian Lillard. But do you think this will be on the LeBron level when LeBron went back to Cleveland? What do you expect from his return?
Every rose has its thorns.
Yeah, nice.
And they're going to have some thorns waiting for him. But, you know, here's the good part. The Spurs come home and then they get Portland back here.
I know,
so, you know, I'm sure there'll be some boos. There'll probably be some clap. I mean, look what he did for that franchise over the last, 7, 8, 9 years. I mean, he put them on the map the last couple of years, made them what they were, made them a playoff team. So I'm sure there's some fans that appreciate what he did, but there's going to be some fans that boo him. But okay, hey, he's a Spur now, so too bad.
Definitely. You know, he did spurn him a little bit, but I think that he was great for Portland throughout his entire time there. Never really waffled back and forth. But of course, you know, when he had the opportunity to come play with Tim Duncan, the rest of the big three, I think he definitely took that.
Find me somebody else that would have passed up that opportunity. Maybe they want more money, but this guy wants championships. He's been in the league long enough now that he's ready to start winning and winning some championships. Was there another team that offered him that opportunity, like the Spurs could?
Yeah. So we have talked a little bit about the Spurs coming back home finally. Are there any of these games that kind of stick out to you down the road here, maybe?
Well, the Portland game again, because you know when they played him the first time that Damian Lillard is going to be fired up. He's going to want to show that you know, hey, you shouldn't have left. You should stuck here and played side by side with me. And then you know what? The team that really stands out in this next set, the 4 out of 5 that are home, is Memphis. I can't believe that they're struggling as much as they are. Actually, the two disappointing teams in the West are Dallas and Memphis. Yeah, both those teams are struggling pretty bad. We knew some of the other ones would, but Memphis is kind of off to a slow start. Were they like at this time? I think they're 2-5, 3-5.
Yeah.
So they're off to kind of a slow start. So it'll be interesting to see that matchup because that's usually a playoff matchup for the Spurs several times in the last few years.
You figure they're going to be
we'll
right
see
there
how that
towards
goes.
the
But
end.
nothing, you know, Philadelphia, Portland, Denver. Denver's playing some pretty good ball, and then they're on the road to New Orleans.
I think,
and
yeah,
then they're back home to Memphis. So, but you know, this is a chance to really set the tone, especially on your home court. 4 out of the next 5 at home. So after tonight.
Yeah, and David, finally, the only question that truly needs to be answered at this point: are you buying into Boban mania?
I'm buying into it. But I just think you ought to call him just Big Bo.
Yeah. That's amongst many of the nicknames. I think I've heard Boban the Barbarian. You know, he's had the Human Victory cigar. I think that's a good sign when he comes in. Yeah, I mean, this guy's...
It's really a good sign. That means the Spurs have either blown him out or the Spurs are blown out. So, you know.
I mean, you know, down the line, I know there's been a lot of, you know, social media craze about him. Do you see him contributing in any sort of way? I mean, he's huge, 7'3". I mean, he literally doesn't even have to jump.
The way Pop manages minutes and the way if he keeps progressing like he is and becomes that fan favorite, I can see him actually contributing somewhere down the road. Because remember, we're 7 games into a 82-game regular season. This is a long season, and you know how much Pop loves to manage those minutes. So I can see him get some playing time and at some serious points in some games. Yeah.
Sounds good. Okay, well, we'll end it on that note. Remember to follow the latest Spurs coverage on air and online at KSAT.com. I'm RG Marcus. This is David Sears. Have a good week, everybody.